So today, I'm going to show you how to add an outlet correctly. In my basement is what I'm doing. Have 4 on the circuit already, so I'm just going to add a 5th one with a light, so that'll be 6 outlets. Just keep in mind, you only want to do between 6 to 8 outlets or lights on one circuit breaker. So this will probably be my last one because I've been making my wife a pantry here. I just need to drywall it and finish. But I'm gonna go ahead and measure it for the bottom, as you can see the little mark there, for the outlet box. So the outlet box will go right there. And then I'll show you how to run the wire from the existing outlet that I have wired up ready to go. And always, if you're in a wet area, depending on county, state, code, I would always recommend your first outlet being a GFCI. That way, if any moisture gets in them, it trips the breaker and it doesn't cause a fire as per code. So I'm gonna go ahead and nail that on, and then I'll show you how I drill the wire, and then we'll add the outlet, and that'll be a wrap. Okay, so to begin, you have 2 nails. You want to purchase a new gang outlet, single outlet at your local hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's, or Ace Hardware, or mom and pop. But they typically have these 2 notches on them. So you want to line these 2 notches up with your 2x4, and I always come out a little bit, just because when you add your 1/2-inch drywall, in this instance, it'll set flush in the outlets, so you won't have to mess too much with adjusting the outlets. So I went ahead and nailed that. I did mine from the bottom at 14 inches, just to keep in line with everything else I've done in the house. There's no set guideline per se, but I just kept it the same with every other outlet in the house to keep it at the same height. You don't want to go below 12 inches, but obviously find a similar measurement and put it at the same to stay consistent and look the same. Otherwise, just looks weird. Anyways, that's in. And then we're gonna go ahead and run wire. So I'm gonna run it up and then over. So as you can see, up, and then I'm gonna run it over and down. The reasoning for this is it's a basement. So if it were to flood water or anything, you don't want the water to sit in the water, or the wire to sit in the water. Typically you would run it in a normal floor of the house. You run it from here straight over. So it's a lot less wire. But again, in the basement, I recommend at least going up to 4 feet and then running it over. Ultimately, the GFI will cut it out if you get water, but it's just, again, another part to the safety measure. All right, I'll show you next step. Okay, so I went ahead and ran a wire. It's 12-2 if you're asking me, because it doesn't need a fan or a switch or anything. It's just direct wire. Or no, 3-way, I'm sorry, for a switch. Anyways, it goes from outlet to outlet, 12-2, straight up, cut across 4 foot, a little above 4 foot, straight across, and down. And I paired it, I ran it along the same one, down, and I'm gonna go into that outlet. So that one's live. So I'm gonna have to either, 1, turn off the circuit breaker, or 2, which I'm gonna go do, is just hit the GFCI, and it'll cut the power to that one when I'm ready to add it. But for now, we'll go ahead and add this outlet, mount it so it's ready to go, and then we'll do the live one after that. Okay, went ahead and hooked up the outlet. Again, it's a single in and out, so gold with black, or the hot white is your neutral, or with silver, and your ground wire is always the green, or sometimes they're black on the bottom. But regardless, same fashion for a single current outlet. Most dangerous wire is always going to be a ground wire if you're doing it live. I prefer not to. Always recommend turning off the breaker or tripping the GFCI unit before hooking it up live. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in, and then we're gonna move over to the live one after turning off the circuit breaker and connecting them, and we should be good after that. Stay tuned. All right, so I went ahead and prepped it, cut the leads. I went ahead and the circuit breaker, turn it off. So I'm gonna pull out the outlet, and all I'm gonna do, since it, like you saw on the other one, the top right there has the common wire. I'll just add one to the bottom, white on that side. You'll see black on top right now going to it, so I'll add a black on that side. It'll give it the other outlet power, and then ultimately I'll twist the ground wires together once I pull it out, and then put it back in. And then you can flip the switch back on to your circuit breaker, and it should have power. But we'll go ahead and do it and show you afterwards. All right, as you can see, 2 whites on the left with the 2 ground wires tied together, and 1 lead tied to the ground, kept separate from the others. And then on this side, you have your 2 blacks with the gold screws, per se. Most outlets are that way. If you go up, you have this less than 2 feet a section, go over, come down, everything's connected to the new outlet, and that's your new outlet. So what we're gonna go do is turn on the GFCI or circuit breaker, whatever you turned off, and I'm gonna plug something in to show you it works. All right, closest thing I found after turning the GFCI back on, or the circuit breaker back on, was a sander. So we'll go ahead and see if it turns on. Turns on, you're successful. If not, or the breaker trips, you didn't hook it up right. All right, I'd say that's a successful outlet addition in less than 30 minutes. You could probably, realistically, if you do this every day, do it in 5 minutes, but quick tutorial on how to add an outlet. Again, don't do more than 6 to 8 per 15 amp breaker. Always consult your codes to your county or state before adding an outlet. But thank you for your time. I haven't done a video in a while, so like, subscribe. I'll keep moving on with doing new videos as I remember, as my wife says. Thank you again for your time. Cheers.